Welcome to a special edition of the Tearsheet Podcast. I'm Zack Miller. Today we're awarding a winner of our Bank Fintech Partnership Award for 2020. Mastercard and Signzy are receiving the Customer Journey Award for the work they've done together tackling merchant onboarding. I'm joined by Zahir Koja, EVP of Merchant Solutions and Partnerships at Mastercard, and Arpit Ratan, co-founder of Signzy. I'll let them explain the nature of their partnership. Our judges chose this partnership based on 4 criteria: creativity, innovative thinking, customer value, and results. Zahir and Arpit are my guests today on the Tearsheet Podcast. Before we jump into the podcast, I wanted to introduce you to Outlier, Tearsheet's leading membership program. It's designed for top fintech and financial service professionals to stay on top daily of the biggest trends, the top companies, and the leaders of this next generation of finance. Get industry briefings by experts like the ones we just hosted on best practices in PR and customer acquisition. Find out more at tearsheet.co/outlier.
Yeah, good morning, Zach. My name is Zahir Koja, and I'm the EVP for Merchant Solutions and Partnerships at Mastercard. Really what that is all about is forming partnerships and product innovation that enable us and our channel partners to run and grow their businesses both for today and tomorrow. And that's primarily on the merchant acquiring and acceptance side of the business. So we're really looking at innovative ways in which we can grow the ecosystem and also deepen our engagement with merchants who are ultimately serving the end consumer.
Awesome. Arpit, can you introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, hi, this is Arpit. I'm one of the founders for Signzy, and I also head the business globally. At Signzy, what we're trying to solve for is customer onboarding for financial institutions. What the problem we see is that today, most financial institutions take a good amount of time and cost in onboarding merchants and customers. And at Signzy, we want to make that process seamless, as real time as possible, and bring in efficiency in the onboarding process.
Great. And it's great to have you both here on this conversation as well. Zahir, can you talk about the partnership that you struck between the two companies?
Yeah, first of all, Zach, thank you very much for this opportunity and also for recognizing the partnership between Mastercard and Signzy with the recognition of this award. We're very honored to be the recipient of it, so thank you very much for that. When Mastercard looks at how do we grow the ecosystem, we think about how our channel partners are going to participate and enable that growth for us being a B2B2C organization. And one of the things that we saw was an opportunity for channel partners such as financial institutions, acquirers, payment facilitators, et cetera, to really shorten the time between them onboarding a merchant and getting them live up in the system so that consumers can interact with that merchant. And there were several gaps that we found with respect to merchant onboarding. Some of those gaps included the manual collection of data or limited availability of data, the ability to cross-reference the data that was provided by a merchant to an acquirer or a payment facilitator and ensure that it was authentic and real so that you could make a very good decision about bringing that merchant on board. And also the ability to underwrite that merchant. And so we started to look around at ways in which we can solve this problem. And there were a couple of things we thought about. One was, should we be building this solution on our own? Or should we be looking at the outside world as in terms of who might be doing this and doing it best? And through our Start Path program, Signzy came to us as a viable option. And we looked at them, and because of the success that they have in India, where they were able to bring this to market with more than just one partner, prove it, and actually help grow the ecosystem there, we recognized that through the technology that they offer and also through the experience on their leadership team, that we were going to be able to bring something to market that was global in nature and bring these into multiple markets outside of India, but also help to develop this in India. So through that, we formed a partnership with Signzy. And over the period of time that we've had this partnership, We've had tremendous success in terms of both inbound and outbound requests for us to enable smart merchant onboarding for our partners. And we've been able to scale this business and grow it outside of India as well. And we're going to be launching with a large global acquirer out of the US to start in Q2, which is a tremendous accolade to the problem that we're able to solve with Signzy and Mastercard and our partner.
Well, that's a great story. I'm interested in hearing from Arpit now about given the size differential between the two companies, what were some of the challenges and some of the opportunities that you found when you started collaborating with Mastercard?
Yes, Zach, I definitely there is a size differential. For us, the challenge was that we were a young company, and the way that we would have to work with a very large organization, there are very different policies, very different ways of working. But both the Start Path team, I think, is a great lever that Mastercard has built, which enables companies of our size to easily navigate within the organization. We don't have to start from scratch. StartPath has already done all the hard work. We have to largely work within their system, and we are able to easily move within the organization. And also Zahir's acceptance team was very warm to us. At no point of time we were ever made to feel, while we were very, very small compared to MasterCard, but we were never made to feel that way. And I think that brought a lot of warmth to the relationship. From our perspective, MasterCard is not only a big company that we're working with, but in terms of vision, I think what Mastercard has built is a trust in payment system. And what they have been able to do is bring the payment, which used to be physical, bring it real, online, real time, and digital. And I think that's what we are trying to solve as onboarding as well. We're trying to bring trust in digital onboardings. We are trying to build trust in onboarding merchants across networks. And therefore, we feel that MasterCard, from a point of view of the way they have built their business, is a very, very good fit for us. And while it would have been a challenge ideally to work with a very large organization, but I do believe because of the teams that we work with, for us, it was simplified. And the opportunity with Mastercard is huge. I do believe that being in India, the advantage is that your product is really tested well. The amount of volumes we do today on our onboardings, most other countries would not see that kind of volume. So the product gets tested a lot. And I think the real opportunity is now, as Zahir was mentioning, how can we start working in more and more geographies globally and deploy our systems in more geographies. We're already working in some of them, but the real opportunity is that how do we do it globally?
And Zahir, from Mastercard's perspective, how are you guys aligned internally? I know StartPath plays a big role in this. How are you guys aligned to be able to take a partnership with Signzy and be able to run with it?
Yeah, so if you look at, if you think about what we're trying to do at Mastercard, which is to grow the digital acceptance footprint across the globe, and we're doing that for a number of reasons. Again, if we look at our vision, a world beyond cash, that's great, and that enables us that gives us the direction in which we need to focus. So when we think about onboarding, to me, that is just the beginning of how we enable digitization into a lot of these markets. And it enables economic and ecosystem growth. It enables inclusion. It enables a lot of different things that empower businesses to now grow within their markets and help their businesses. So what we do is we look at who are the partners that can really enable us to drive towards that vision of a world beyond cash. Who are the partners that can help us to drive towards inclusion, that can help us to drive to a world where economic empowerment and merchant inclusion start to grow and foster that growth. And so through StartPath, we were able to find Signzy, bring them on board, and then internally crystallize that message around the various different markets around the world to focus them on what does it mean to reduce the time from weeks to minutes to onboard a merchant for a merchant acquirer or a payment facilitator, and what does that mean to your respective markets, and what does it mean to your economies and to our goal of inclusion and a world beyond cash. And so again, going back to Signzy, they really checked off a lot of those boxes that enabled us to allow our regions and our markets to see the opportunity of this and then be able to run with it and grow their merchant footprint from it.
Got it. And are there KPIs, certain metrics from the partnership that you guys are comfortable sharing with our audience? Zahir, I'll aim that at you first.
Sure. I think the success of this is really the voice of our customer. Our customer, as I mentioned, is the acquirer or the payment facilitator that is going to take this solution, embed it into their core processes, and ultimately, if they're happy because they're now able to reduce costs, they're able to increase the number of merchants that they onboard, increase their profitability, and also be seen as a driver of doing good in their economies and in their markets. To us, that is the ultimate KPI in terms of how successful this partnership really is. So I think while there are, we are looking at merchant growth and other things, the real main KPI through all of this is the voice of our customer and ultimately their customer who's coming on board and is now actively accepting digital transactions and is making a meaningful impact within their markets.
Got it. And in the remaining time we have, Arpit, I'm curious to hear from you what your vision is for the future of the partnership. I'm going to ask Zahir this afterwards, but from Signzy's point of view, where do you think this may lead in the future?
I do believe working with Mastercard, it's not only that we'll be expanding globally with them, but I do also feel that Mastercard brings a lot of value with the amount of knowledge that the organization have both historically and even at the current position with the amount of markets they see, the amount of problem sets they see. And therefore, we have already been talking and it's not a very distant future. This is something which has been in the works, but we do genuinely believe that it will enable a company like us to solve for greater challenges, to find out the next generation problem, something that may be easy to vision because Mastercard is already seeing it. And when you can envision a problem of the future, you can start solving for a problem of the future. And I think that is truly, for me, one of the big takeaways from this partnership is to solve the next world challenge, which individually at Signzy for us is very difficult to envision, but with Mastercard together solve for more problems for the end customer.
Well said. And Zahir, I know you've sort of alluded to this in some of your other answers, but where do you guys see the partnership leading in the future?
So I think our immediate goal right now is, continuing to scale on the success that we've built with Signzy, but there's multiple other use cases that we're getting a lot of questions and demand for internally. You look at some of the trends right now in the marketplace around authentication and verification, and some of the things that Signzy do very well with merchant onboarding today is they are able to authenticate a merchant and verify data that a merchant provides with various different sources to enable an acquirer or payment facilitator to make a decision within seconds versus days or weeks. And it provides, it's all done through safe rails, and it's transparent. So we see multiple use cases on this. I can ideally see financial institutions wanting to use this for online opening of accounts, again, which is great because it enables financial inclusion in various different markets. But again, around authentication and verification and digital identification, there's so many use cases, and I think that the possibilities are quite endless. Our goal right now is to scale beyond where we are today, the partnership with respect to merchant onboarding so that we can continue to grow that.
Arpit, Zahir, I want to thank both of you for joining us on the podcast today, and congratulate both Signzy and Mastercard on winning the Tearsheet Award. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Zach. Nice to meet you.